Hi, it's Donna from Simple Online Solutions, and I have with me today Mark Mooney. Now, Mark has recently set up the Link Directory to help customers and businesses connect. And today I asked him along to the call because he's been online for quite some time. He's really one of those people that flies underneath the radar, and he's very humble, and he won't admit to being a very successful online marketer, but in his own right, Mark is. And I thought what he's doing with the directory was really something that small business owners can align themselves with. So I'd like to welcome you to the call today, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, Donna. Thanks very much for asking me on this call.
You're more than welcome because, I'm a little bit sneaky. I invite people on the call because usually I want to learn something about what they're doing, so it's a really tricky way of finding out the information.
I'll do my best.
So, Mark, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing?
Yeah, as Donna said, I've been doing this for quite some time, and those people who already know me, I think, are actually aware of that. What I will say is a bit of background. I've been involved, as a lot of people say, actually, I've been involved in internet marketing for well over 10 years now. And I started way back at the back end of 1999. I decided to create a business directory for my local area here in Greater Manchester. And over the years, that directory has grown. Now have quite a few thousand pages on that directory. And when I first created it, I was just creating individual static pages long before we had the power of WordPress and database managed sites. So it was a long process. But over the years, that process has actually served me quite well because I learned obviously how to create my own content. I learned about SEO long before it was actually given the title of SEO. So I have, without blowing my own trumpet, so to speak, I have quite a in-depth knowledge of how things work online. Obviously on that journey, I also discovered how to make money through affiliate marketing, and that really has been my main focus in producing these mini sites, then going on to producing these authority sites. And for those people who know me, one of the markets that I operate in, I quite freely tell people this. I operate in the costume market, which is known as fancy dress here in the UK, and that keeps me going. That keeps the bills being paid. And basically, that's a lot of where the bulk of where my knowledge has come from by running and managing those sites.
So, Mark, do you have those sites also in Facebook? Do you have a Facebook page for your fancy dress sites?
Yeah, with the Facebook pages, what I've started to do is obviously, as a lot of people have certainly over the last 12 months in the main, is looking at Facebook to see how I can utilize the facility of Facebook to drive additional traffic to those sites. So I did create a page for my costume site. I haven't actually done that much on it, to be perfectly honest, but I did some trials a few months ago on Facebook advertising for costume site, and I also had a shoes site, which actually proved quite successful because obviously with Facebook at the time, I don't know if the rules are going to change, but you could obviously put affiliate links in those ads. But what I did discover was that people were, I would say, the most success I had where I was driving the traffic internally within Facebook. So all the Facebook ads I then ran were internal ads. So to drive them, as a lot of people already have, building up fan pages, is drive the traffic internally within Facebook. And obviously now with the way iframes work and the way we can create additional pages and mini sites, that actually works quite well now.
So what you did was, for people who may not be familiar with it, on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see that there's advertising in there. So Mark has paid for that advertising, and then when people click on it to look at the advertising, it drives them back to their Facebook, to his Facebook page on that particular, and I'll call it product because you've got quite a few of them, but back to that particular Facebook page and or product that you've been promoting through the ad. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
So Mark, in terms of Facebook as a marketing tool, why did you initially decide, and I'm going to just talk about the Link Directory here, why did you initially decide for the Link Directory that this was something that you wanted to go and teach people in your local area to be using Facebook as a marketing tool?
Yeah, when I first started the directory, which was obviously way back, my intention at the beginning was to create a directory that was quality rather than quantity. And there's lots of local directories worldwide now, obviously. And what I saw initially was the big players, the likes likes of Yale.com, the Thomson Local we have here. Their sites were all very similar. They were basically a replica of what they had within the hard copy directories, which was names, addresses, and telephone numbers, basically. And obviously, it might have been the odd link to a website. That was in the early days. So my intention was to give the visitors more than just the name, address, and telephone number. At the time, not every business had a website or a web presence, so I would build this individual page, this static internal page, which gave a complete overview of their business. So my aim really was to try and bring customers and businesses together. And what I also had on that page was a recommendation form with a view to getting the customers to recommend these businesses quite freely without being, without forcing the issue. So obviously now with Facebook now gives us that opportunity, gives us that platform for the purpose of bringing these customers and businesses together. So what I'm doing now currently is revisiting the directory. I've created a Facebook page for the directory, which is facebook.com have a link is the actual directory, and encouraging the businesses to revisit Facebook, to have a look at Facebook, but at the same time encourage their customers to go onto my pages on Facebook and recommend them quite openly and freely through that medium. So it's now giving me that opportunity, which I wanted to do over 10 years ago, is to bring the customer and business together. So that's hopefully partly answered the question, I hope.
So Mark, in terms of, so for the local small businesses that you talk to and you are encouraging them to come onto Facebook, what are the type of techniques that you would be suggesting to them to use to start to build their fan base? Because I would imagine for some of these people it would be quite a scary step, really moving into the world of Facebook when you really don't know how to use it.
Yeah, it is quite scary for some of them because, a lot of them aren't that savvy on computers, so a lot of them don't actually understand, why they should have this, this presence on Facebook. The ones that do, and the ones that already have dabbled, so to speak, it's showing them how to use Facebook more effectively. And a lot of us are already familiar, certainly the ones who operate within the circles of the social networking academy of Joe Barnes. We're all familiar with what goes on and what we do to try and encourage fans and try and increase activity within our pages. Things like setting up competitions, as your last interview that Kathy had this party thing going on, which is a great idea. So it's trying to show businesses that they can do the same. When someone, for example, I went into a menswear shop a few weeks ago, and the guy in there started to use Facebook quite well because he is quite a personality himself anyway. And what he does is he is no different within his Facebook pages. He communicates in exactly the same way as he would within his shop. He talks about general things, obviously on his pages, but also can talk about the product, can offer the products at a discount, can offer incentives. And I think this is the key, that businesses can really tap into the power of Facebook. And as we know within a lot of examples we see on Welcome Page, we see that there is some sort of incentive to get people to like the page. So a retail outlet can have a discount just for people who like that page. It's exclusive to Facebook. They can't get that deal anywhere else. There's a guy I'm speaking to, I'm interviewing him on Friday, a music shop I went to recently. He's, again, very new to this, and he's so pleased that he's now started to see the real potential. He's having a battle of the bands competition. So this is going to be great because this is going to give people an opportunity to post video, to post, things on his wall relevant to the overall music genre, so to speak, but at the same time that will elevate his profile. It will get this activity on his wall. So this is hopefully going to be a good example. And what I'm going to be doing in the near future, over the next few weeks actually, is I'm putting together a Facebook awareness evening, which is going to be a couple of hours, where I'm going to be inviting some of these businesses to attend, to obviously put their input into how Facebook has obviously not so much changed their business, but how they can now use this social media tool more effectively within their business. And hopefully the businesses that will attend will see what businesses within sectors similar to them are doing, within the realms of social media. So it should be interesting times ahead.
Yes, I'll be looking forward to hearing how the seminar goes. So, Mark, one of the things that we talked about prior to to starting this call was that one of the biggest things that I believe that people struggle with in terms of Facebook is knowing what to say on their page or knowing how to communicate. And, I'd like you to share your thoughts that if you've got somebody that you're sitting with and they say to you, well, what do I say? What would be your answer to that?
Yeah, that is a common question. People think, well, what do I do once I've set this thing up? What do I say? And the best answer I can give on that really is obviously, as I think most of us already know, listen to this call, is that you've got to be yourself, basically. You've got to treat that Facebook environment the same way. If you're a local shop, as I've said, if you're a local retailer and someone walks onto into your store, you don't immediately pounce on them to sell them a product. You engage with them. So it's finding that rapport. So I think every business would be slightly different. You get a different. You can't say, well, this is what I would say, because what you would say will be completely different. If you're a menswear shop, you would be saying something or communicating in a completely different way to, let's say, a local beautician or a hairdresser's or a jeweler's, for example. Yes, you can slip in and talk about the actual products. You can talk about new things. Certainly within the fashion industry, that's a good example. There's lots going on in the fashion industry and within the beauty treatment industry and those types of retail outlets that gives you the opportunity to communicate with your customers the same way as we do. You find out what your customers want. It's basic marketing. We find out what the wants and needs are of the customers. And that's what we do. So I'm not sure if I've actually answered your question on what you would say, but I think it would be personal, be yourself really, be no different than you are. We try to do that within our own pages. I look at other people, you look at someone's profile and what they talk about within the profile, and the mark of a good page is carrying that personality through to your page. So you get this encouragement for people to not only go from your profile. This is another thing somebody asked me was, do we keep it separate? Everybody starts off with a profile on Facebook and then they have a business page. I think personally that there should be some continuity between the two. Yes, people like to separate the business from the personal life, but I think, if you can use the two and you can bring people through from your personal pages into your business pages, that for me is a better environment that you can create within there.
So you're saying, Mark, that on your personal profile, by forming a relationship with them there is a great opportunity to then bring them over and introduce them to your business page.
Yeah, I don't see any problem in that. A lot of people think that you should be they should be totally separate. But I think if you're going down the Facebook route, then that's where it starts. It starts with that personality page, and that's where you build your own personality. And I think the same as anyone. I'm mainly talking about the retail sector here. And when I first started my directory, I felt that the businesses that I wanted to represent on my directory were businesses that I would be happy to do business with myself, the people I could connect to. I would do lots of cold calling and just walk into a business, a high street shop or, a small business, and just see what reception I got. And from there, you can gauge whether you want to do business with that person or not, and vice versa. It's a two-way thing.
I think that is one of the benefits of doing Facebook is because people can and do look at you and what you are saying and doing and put out there. So whilst people don't really get that at this point, I think they will eventually. I mean, a lot of people might join your Facebook page and sit for a long time, and I call them little fence sitters. They sit for a long time and look and listen, but they're learning about you and about your business ethics and what you're offering your customers. And so, you can never underestimate what you're doing in there. And, for me personally, I don't do a lot on my personal profile. And when I say do a lot, I'm not a prolific poster. And I don't share huge amounts of my personal information on there because I'm looking at that as more as a relationship building with customers on my personal profile. And then it's like you're saying, then bring them over to your business page. So it's interesting that we both have the same philosophy in terms of that.
Yeah, I think most people anyway will, we do it. We all, we're all learning here on Facebook, and I've done it a few times and sometimes thought, well, I shouldn't have really done that. Put a direct link to my directory. We've all done it. We all want fans initially on our pages, and we'll say, hey guys, go over and have a look at my new page. But you can only do that so many times. So I think eventually what people do is people become more curious and will start looking at more into your profile and looking at your, your summary and your info section on your profile. And if you put those links in there, I'm sure they'll be curious enough to click through. Or you create that continuity between, your other websites. And guide them through that way. And, as you say, if you built that relationship up, people will want to find out more about you anyway, just pure curiosity. And
absolutely,
that's the point I'm trying to make with businesses, is that, if you're communicating in your profile and you might be talking to your best friend from school, but if the opportunity comes up in that conversation that they say, how's business? You never, it's the same thing. If you're in a room full of people and you go to a lot of us obviously go to networking events, and you can be in a conversation, or you can be overhearing a conversation between two people and subsequently become intrigued by what that person has to say and want to find out more. So the same applies within Facebook, that there are other people watching what's going on your wall, perhaps.
Yes, it's just a different way of people really listening to and seeing what you are doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Mark, sorry, Mark.
Going back to your original question about what the businesses put on the wall, as I said, I think it's more of just be you, just be yourself, and that's been said many times before, I know. I think that's it, just be yourself.
Excellent. So Mark, just before we go, because we are running out of time here, I was just wondering, is there one tip that you'd like to share with the listeners?
I think the biggest problem we all face here on this environment of Facebook is it's so easy to be distracted. And I think one tip is try to, obviously, this has been said before, but try to stay focused on one project at any one time. I've obviously, for those people who know me, I'm off, on a tangent now and again, and people think, oh, he's doing something completely different now. But I've actually planned that out. I will spend, so many weeks doing one particular project and then, going off onto something else. So I think focus is the key. And I think, planning plays a massive part in everything we do on, within business. And some businesses don't plan well enough and obviously, don't get the results that they deserve. And I think real planning, and a prime example of this, and I'm sure perhaps she may be listening to this, is Jo, Jo Barnes. She planned exactly what she was going to do, I would say a good few years ago now. When she first started the social media thing, and she did the 2,000 fans in 27 days, I think that plan was then obviously implemented, and that's a good example, really. I think put yourself a plan together, basically, rather than just running at it and running around like a headless chicken. Pardon the pun, Mark, if you're listening.
Well, Mark, I'm going to say thank you. You've got lots of good information, and we could continue on, but we only have a small time frame here today. But I might say if we could do a follow-up again in 3 months would be awesome, so that I can see how you're going with your local small businesses. So I'm going to say thank you very much for coming along today. And please, for people listening to this call, don't forget to pop over and visit Mark, and I will put the link in the post so that you can visit him after today.
Thanks again. Well, thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for those people who took the time to listen. I hope I haven't gone on too much, but thanks again, Donna.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Mark. This is Donna from Simple Online Solutions, and I look forward to seeing you soon in Facebook.